502 Flashback Saturday night, and I am joined on the phone by a very, very special guest. It's Geoff Downes of the band Asia. Hello there, Geoff.
Hi there. Good evening. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. And how are you doing out there?
Pretty good, actually. Yeah, not too bad at all.
Oh, wow. That is awesome, my friend. You know what? There's so much going on with Asia. But first, we're gonna recap a little bit because everybody loves the band. You guys burst onto the scene in '82 and got that name, a super group, because, well, you had members of Yes, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, King Crimson, Uriah Heep. And then your initial self-titled album sold way over 10 million copies. Second album, Alpha, came along. That spawned lots more hits. Now, you had a couple of lineup changes to bring us where we are today. We got John Payne on vocals, Guthrie Govan on guitars, Chris Slade on drums, and, of course, yourself on keyboards. You got a new album called Silent Nation. How do you think Silent Nation sounds in comparison to the first album 22 years ago?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think that there's been a lot of things happening in the interim. It developed and changed its style quite a bit during that course of time. I think that we always feel that the music should develop and should change rather than sticking with a tried and tested formula. But I think definitely with this album, it's the closest to the style of the original albums.
Most definitely.
Largely because I think of the fact that we've got a very stable lineup on this album, as we did initially, So we've kind of gone full circle in a way.
I have to bring it up. Remember back to 1979 and that good old Buggles album, The Age of Plastic?
Thank you.
Did you ever think that the song Video Killed the Radio Star would be the first ever video on MTV and go on to receive record-breaking play, played every hour on the fledgling network back then?
No, I mean, we didn't. We had no idea about it because at that time MTV wasn't even thought of when we wrote the song. So it was kind of, it was a nice thing to be associated with historically. But I don't think any of us ever thought that it would launch one of the biggest sort of phenomenons in music history in America.
Most definitely it did. And I mean, the video got played. I think that put the Buggles on the map.
Well, I think it certainly, that song certainly helped put me on the map. And I think that, it was, I'm grateful for that aspect.
Very, very cool. In addition to Asia, you've done lots of solo work, such as one of my favorite albums, 1996, Evolution. You had tracks on there like Africa, Living on a Prayer, Alone, Dust in the Wind, just to name a few. And plus, you got the 2003 album. It only has 2 tracks on it. One is Shadows, that's 22 minutes long, and the other one is Reflections, which is 33 minutes long. What inspires your solo work and the work that you do with friends like Greg Lake?
Well, I think that Asia's very much a kind of thing that it's a one train thing, and you kind of apply yourself to that because there are not necessarily limitations, but it's within a certain framework. I think with my solo stuff, it enables me to stretch out a bit more and really kind of do what I want to do without any sort of framework that I've got to work in. So that's where the albums do become, very diverse. Like as you said, there's a 22-minute track, and then there's maybe a short song that I'll do with someone like Greg Lake or Ben Hughes or someone like that. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to have that flexibility.
Absolutely. Well, back to Silent Nation, the newest release from Asia, and it features a single, What About Love? And we're going to roll that right now for our listeners, and we'll be right back to talk more with Geoff Downes of Asia on Flashback Saturday night. That's the latest from Asia right there off the Silent Nation CD called What About Love. We're talking live to Geoff Downes of Asia. And Geoff, I understand you're going to be starting off a world tour in 2005, but for this year, you're doing more like an intimate tour at different Borders book and music locations, including this coming Thursday, October 7th at 12:30 p.m. You're going to be at the Borders on Broad Street in Philly, and then later that night at 7:30 p.m. you're going to drive a couple of miles to the west, and you're going to be at the Borders Camp Hill. What can fans expect at the Borders shows?
Well, it's a lot of fun actually going out and doing stuff like this, because it gives us a chance to actually perform the songs in a very different way. And we did an unplugged tour, just me and John, last year for about 15 dates, and it's actually very nice to be able to strip the music down to its songwriting elements almost. And I think people can really appreciate that they get to hear a lot of the original stuff performed in a completely different way, as well as the new material. So I think it's a kind of mixture of the two, really. But again, as I said, it's nice to be able to take it to such an intimate level.
Most definitely, because I think when you're in an intimate setting like that, people can relate, and they feel a little bit closer. You know, more people and more bands are playing the intimate venues because it's the opportunity to get closer to the fans. And let's face it, in the 80s, you couldn't turn on the radio without hearing an Asia song, and the fact that the band has maintained itself so well over the years and continues on. Where do you see the future of Asia now? Of course, with the lineup that you have, where do you see you going from Silent Nation forward?
Well, I think we've started another chapter really with Silent Nation. I think that you go through different waves and different periods where you're doing things. I think with this new album, it's kind of set a little bit of a precedent that we're very happy with the band we've got. It's the longest actually existing lineup of Asia to date. So I think we're going to carry on and do more, and as long as we're enjoying it, we still like to get out there and perform.
There's no doubt in my mind, Geoff, that the fans enjoy it, and we are looking forward to having you in the area once again. If you missed those dates, Asia will be performing. It's kind of like an unplugged thing, correct?
That's right, yeah. We only play for about 45 minutes, something like that, but it's just a kind of means of contact for people, and we have a chat afterwards and that kind of thing.
Very awesome. You will be at the Borders Books and Music, first of all, October 7th, which is Thursday at 12:30 at the Borders on Broad Street in Philly. And then later that night, 7:30, you're going to be at the Borders over in Camp Hill. And if you need any information on those, definitely log on to the website, WRFY.com, click on the flashback page, and all the information is right there for you. Geoff, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Flashback Show. Geoff Downs from Asia. Anything you'd like to say to your fans here in Reading?
Well, thanks for inviting us, and that part of the country where you are is very sort of special to me from my days with Yes, when we used to rehearse out there. So I know that part of the world very well, and I'm hoping to look forward to seeing you not only with the Borders shows, but when we come out, play with the full band next year.
We are looking forward to that so much. Thank you once again for joining us tonight, and I think we need to roll some more Asia. Thanks again, Geoff Downs from the band Asia.